Are you considering switching your children to a whole foods plant-based lifestyle? Or maybe you're considering having children and you wonder if they'll be properly nourished eating whole plant foods. Well, stick around and learn the science on the most optimal diet for everyone. Welcome to the Fabulous Health Show. I'm your host, Terry Chrisman. I'm a whole foods plant-based nutritionist, and this show gives you the tools to help you obtain optimal health so that you can live a long, happy life and age with grace and vitality. It's episode 45. I've only got 6 more episodes to go until I stop doing this daily. I'm doing it daily every day at 10 a.m. US Central Time in November 2021. After episode 50, on episode 51, we're going to go weekly, and I've already got some fantastic guests lined up. We're going to do that on the Monday morning, and I'll give you more information about that as well. I go live here on Facebook and YouTube at Fabulous Health, and then directly afterwards, I load the audio up to all your favorite podcast platforms, and that's Google, Spotify, Deezer, Spreaker, Podcast Addict, you name it, they're up there. And all you have to do is go to fabuloushealth.net and click on the podcast tab, and you will be able to subscribe to your favorite podcast right there without doing any of that boring searching for me. I want to take a quick moment to say thank you very much to everybody who has downloaded the podcast so far. All the people who have commented, I really, really appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. Keep your questions coming. It's great to have you on board. Okay, here's a disclaimer for you. This show is for educational and informational purposes only, and the information shared today is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease, and it should not take the place of personalized medical care. Please consult your primary care physician before making any changes to your or your children's diet. So infants and children have very specialist nutritional needs for their growing bodies. And as parents, we want to give our kids the best start in life. But for years, we've been led to believe that this is via an animal-rich diet. Due to political pressure, most countries' dietary guidelines still list meat, fish, and dairy as part of a healthy diet. But the science refutes this. Meat and dairy are responsible for heart disease, diabetes, strokes, and cancer, just to name a few. So how can we ensure that our children are receiving all the nutrition they need? So the first thing is we need to be aware of the nutritional requirements for growing bodies. Now, requirements for both macronutrients, that's your proteins, carbs, and your fats, and also micronutrients, which are your vitamins, your minerals, your phytonutrients, and your fiber, they are higher per kilogram of body weight for infants and kids than they are for adults. And this is because of the continued growth of your children, which requires all of these things for DNA synthesis, for protein synthesis, and for normal development. So to put that into perspective, most adults require about 25 to 30 calories per kilogram of body weight per day. But a 4-kilogram newborn infant requires 100 calories per kilogram. And between the ages of 1 and 3, that reduces slightly to 83 calories per kilogram body weight. And after that, the energy requirements decline based on the child's weight, their height, and their physical activity. So if you're wondering about how many calories your kids need, please speak to your pediatrician. But as you'll find in this show today, counting calories is really not necessary. So if possible, it's best to breastfeed your baby. Now, some people can't breastfeed, some can. And if you can, please do. Breast milk not only contains all the nutrition required for your baby, it also contains your own antibodies to help strengthen your baby's immune system. And babies that have been breastfed have been shown to have reduced high blood pressure, reduced obesity, reduced allergies, better cognitive development, and decreased infections as they grow older. And it's also free. Well, it's not exactly free. So as the mummy, you're going to be eating a bit more food to give all your babies those calories. But it's not a ton, because remember, a newborn baby takes in about 400 to 500 calories per day. So if you're breastfeeding, you don't need to eat a whole ton of extra food. Your body is an amazing machine, and it will take from you what it needs for the baby. So don't worry about that. However, if you cannot breastfeed or you choose not to, then be confident that the regulations surrounding the production of baby formula are very, very strict, and they contain all the nutrition that your baby needs. Now, you can find these regulations on the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration website, or the Food Standards Australia website. And I'm sure the European Union and the UK and all other countries around the world will have a similar governing body that will show you those regulations and what is and is not allowed to be put into infant formula. It's very, very strict. Now, there are many plant-based formulas on the market using protein sources from wide varieties of plants, such as soy and rice and oat, if you decide to use these products. But do your research, because some do not specify the origin of the vitamin D3. And a lot of vitamin D3 does come from fatty fish. So if you are totally vegan, you want to do some research and find out what your formulas are for your baby. Now, water is very important for children. They have increased body surface area per unit of body weight compared to adults. So plus they don't regulate their body temperature very well, so they're at greater risk of dehydration. And this is especially pertinent when an infant or a child has diarrhea or vomiting, or has been in a hot location like a hot car. So make sure your babies and kids have tons of water on hand at all time. Infants and children also have increased requirements for essential fatty acids, especially the omega-3 alpha-linoleic acid, which gets converted into eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid. EPA and DHA by the body gets converted. So omega-3 fatty acids play key roles in neurological development, so they're really, really important for young people. A deficiency in omega-3s can result in cognitive problems, language development issues, visual and neurological problems, including lower IQ. So head on back to episode 43 of the Fabulous Health Show, where I talk all about diet and mental health. And I also give you some great information there about omega-3 fatty acids. Now, bear in mind that your formula and your infant follow-on formula is going to have these omega-3 fatty acids in it. And for your kids, you can get those omega-3s from things like hemp seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts. Vitamin D. Babies need 10 times more vitamin D per kilogram body weight than an adult. And vitamin D is essential for bone development. Vitamin D prevents rickets, which is brittle bones in children, and it reduces inflammation, as well as it modulates processes such as cell growth, neuromuscular and immune function, and glucose metabolism. It also helps prevent muscle cramps and spasms. So vitamin D is very, very important. Sun exposure triggers vitamin D synthesis. And again, most babies can get enough vitamin D from breast milk or formula and sun exposure. And kids too. Supplementation is not usually advised for babies and small children unless under the direction of a doctor and there's already diagnosed deficiency either in the mother who is breastfeeding or in the child. What about vitamin C? Babies need 6 times more vitamin C per kilogram per hour body weight than an adult. Vitamin C is a fantastic antioxidant, which of course helps DNA repair. Remember, for babies and kids, that DNA, it is replicating at a miles an hour all the time, because that's what helps them grow new cells. And what grows new cells? New bits of body, bigger muscles, bigger bones, bigger organs, bigger brains. That's how people grow. Vitamin C is also really good for collagen and connective tissue formation, immune function, and wound healing. And we all know kids are clumsy. They fall over all the time. So you're going to get cuts and scrapes, and you really want those wounds to heal ASAP. In fact, have you ever noticed that when a kid falls over and scrapes his knee or her knee, that it heals up really, really quickly? That's because the body of a child is in a growth phase, and healing is growth. So they're regenerating those cells all the time. You don't need to supplement with vitamin C. You can get it in fruits and veggies, berries, citrus, kiwi, broccoli, peppers, sprouts, tomatoes. And vitamin C deficiency is very rare in a balanced whole foods plant-based diet. Again, if you have any questions, please go and talk to your pediatrician. What about iodine? Babies need 6.5 times more iodine than adults per kilogram body weight. Now, I'm saying these figures, 6.5 times, 10 times. It's not 10 times or 6.5 times more than an adult, because remember, an adult might weigh 10, 15 times more than a baby. So it's per kilogram body weight. Again, if you have any questions about how much of these minerals you need to give to your child, please make sure you speak to your pediatrician. Iodine is easily obtained from iodized salt and seaweed snacks such as kelp, nori, kombu, and wakame, and kids love them. Kids who are introduced to seaweed snacks at an early age, they love them like they love potato chips, but they don't have any of the nasties. They have all the good stuff. You can also get iodine in potatoes and fortified breads. So iodine is essential for the synthesis of thyroid hormone. Thyroid regulates the metabolism. It's really essential for the central nervous system development. So of course, essential for growth, energy production, and metabolism. Now, a deficiency, particularly in pregnancy, can result in mental retardation of the fetus. So if you're considering getting pregnant, please consider a prenatal vitamin or iodine supplement. Now, I've talked about vitamin B12 at length in episode 19 of the Fabulous Health Show. Vitamin B12 is as essential for babies and children as it is for adults. Vitamin B12 is responsible for healthy blood cell formation and the myelin sheath that covers our nerve fibers and allows the electrical signal to travel through our nerve system. And remember, kids are growing new nerve fibers every single second. So they need to also be growing that myelin sheath. So it's really important to get that vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 helps with bone cell activity and metabolism as well. And pregnant women who are deficient run the risk of neural tube defects in their babies. So breast milk is fantastic for vitamin B12. Make sure that you as a mummy have enough B12 in your diet so that you can give it to your bubs. Formula is also good. Follow-on formula is also good. But after your child gets away from those formulas and goes to eating essentially just all whole foods, you need to talk to your pediatrician and get a toddler vitamin B12. Okay, iron. How's this? Babies need less iron than adults per kilogram of body weight. Who would have known that? Iron carries oxygen throughout the body and transports it into the cells for energy metabolism. It's also used to make the neurotransmitters in our nerve cells. Iron deficiency can cause anemia, and in kids, it can lead to lethargy, concentration difficulty, and learning difficulties. As the child grows, iron can be obtained from all the iron-rich foods that you eat as an adult: lentils, soybeans, leafy greens, mushrooms, potatoes, and nuts. Again, it's recommended not to supplement infants and small children with iron. In fact, one of the greatest causes of death in children under 6 is iron toxicity, caused by kids accidentally taking their parents' iron supplements. So please talk to your pediatrician before you even consider supplementing with iron for small children. Whole foods are best. And if you're wondering, I just don't know how many grams of vitamin, how many grams of iron foods, where do I get my iron foods? I have a fantastic research for you. I get no remuneration from this referral. I just love this thing so much. I want you to have one as well. I've got them all over my house. They're called Liz Cook charts. They are fantastic visual representations with gorgeous diagrams and words in multicolors showing you what vitamins and minerals you get from what whole foods. You can go to lizcookcharts.co.uk/nutrition chart. Now, I will post that link in the description of this video, and I will also find a way somehow to post it on my website. But I love Liz Cook charts. They come from the UK. I bought them when I lived in Australia. I bought them when I lived in Hong Kong, and I bought them when I lived in America. So you can get them wherever you are in the world, and they are really good to stick in your kitchen. In fact, Paul McCartney has one in his kitchen, and Tom Jones has one in his kitchen as well. All right, so where do you get all these nutrients from your kids? Well, you can get them all from a whole foods plant-based diet, the very same diet that you yourself are eating, except you want to think about increased calories. Children's tummies are small, so they need more small meals more often. If you give your child a huge big bowl of salad and lettuce, you're going to fill up their tummy, and there's going to be very little calories in that salad. So you want to increase their nutrient content and decrease the size. So you need to fill them up with high nutrient density and high calorie density. By all means, give them salad, but you know what you could do? You could chop it really itty bitty, tiny pieces so that you could take a salad this big and make it this big so it fits in your child's tummy. Chop your carrots really small, maybe cook them so they're a little bit softer. Chop your broccoli up really small. Chuck it in the food processor so it's really tiny. The other thing is tofu and tempeh, high nutrition value, higher calories than your regular just fruits and veggies. Nut butters are great. That's a really good way of getting some nutrition into your kids. Tahini is good. Even vegan yogurt. Now, I don't really prescribe vegan yogurt for people who are trying to lose weight because it's really high in fat, but it's really good for kids because it's high in fat, because it's not full of saturated fat. If you don't get the coconut one, get the cashew one. Vegan cheeses are okay for kids too. Hummus is good. Energy balls are great, made with dates and oats and nuts. Just chuck them all in soak them first, soak your dates first and your nuts first. Chuck them all in your food processor, make little energy balls, and they make really good treats for kids. How about creamy sauces made with cashews and almonds and walnuts? Now, if you can't use nuts because your kids have an allergy to them, or you don't want to use nuts, by all means, use sunflower seeds. You can also get sunflower seed butter. Juices and smoothies are also great for kids, but I highly recommend that you do them yourself. Don't go buy a juice in the supermarket. It's been made days or weeks ago. It's probably pasteurized and half the nutrients are gone in it. Get yourself an omega slow masticating juicer. I've got them on my website, fabuloushealth.net. Just click on the shop tab and my Amazon store, and I've got a whole wide variety of what I think are the best masticating juices on the planet. You can give your kids juices and smoothies and pimp up their oatmeal. Chuck hemp seeds on and walnuts and nut butters and all sorts of things for your kids, flax seeds, so that they're getting all those nutrients. They're really full of omega-3. Chia seeds as well. Make them chia seed pudding. Anyway, you could go back to episode 30 which is how to put on weight. The weight tips I have for adults to put on weight, you can use these to increase the calories in your kids' meals. But stay away from the processed foods. Stay away from the fried foods and the snack foods, and give your kids the best start in life with whole plant foods. Of course, if you have any questions or concerns, speak to your pediatrician. You can find one at plantbaseddocs.com. Or if you want some advice from me, I can help you out as well. I'm at fabuloushealth.net. I hope this was helpful for you. Ask me any questions. Leave your comments on the bottom of this video, and I'd love to help you. If you want to take your health to the next level, not your kids, because the kids don't want this class, you want this class, take the Quick Road to Fabulous weight loss class. It's 25% off for November. Just use the code podcast. And if you're listening to this later, I'm sure I'll have a good discount for you too. Just hit me up. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to ask the question, can you reverse diabetes with diet alone? Spoiler alert, yes. Tune in tomorrow. You have a fabulous day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.